Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ParkingBattle9018. Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter while he went with another woman? I feel like I need some outside perspective on a really tough situation. My husband and I have been married for 19 years and we have 3 kids together. A 13-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old and a newborn. Our journey to parenthood wasn't easy. We faced a lot of fertility struggles and my husband has been my rock through it all. That's why this situation has hit me so hard. Recently, I started thinking about divorce after I realized my husband had left our children alone at home while he went out on what appears to be a date with another woman. It's been difficult for me to process everything and I'm still unsure if I'm overreacting. His parents seem to think it was just a mild mistake, but I honestly find that hard to swallow. A couple of days ago, I decided to take a much needed me day. I told my husband how I felt and he agreed I could go out for a bit. I went out with my mom and sister for lunch, a mini shopping spree, and we even got our nails done. It was lovely to have some time to unwind. I left the house around 1 p.m. planning to be back around 6 p.m. My husband was supposed to be at home with the kids since we didn't have anyone to babysit on short notice. While I was out, I received notifications from our Ring camera. Around 5:50 p.m. I saw something was happening at the front door. I called my husband, who assured me everything was fine and that he was just picking up pizza. I thought nothing of it, knowing he was with the kids. Fast forward to around 6 p.m. when I got another notification that he was back home. Due to the long wait at the nail salon and bad traffic, I didn't arrive home until about 8 p.m. When I got inside, I immediately noticed something was off. My husband's car was gone. I walked into the house to find my toddler playing with spit and my newborn was crying uncontrollably. My teenage daughter was in tears because she couldn't calm the baby down. I quickly took the baby, changed her, fed her, and got her to bed, checking in with my daughter to see what happened. She told me she didn't know where her dad was, but that he had told her to watch the kids because he had something important to do. I comforted her and reassured her that it was a big task for her to handle alone. I felt awful she had been put in that situation. My husband finally came around 10 p.m. looking somewhat drunk. When I asked where he had been, he casually claimed he was with his wife and having a good time. It felt like a slap in the face. He took off his pants and acted as if everything was normal, completely dismissing what had just happened. The next day, when I confronted him about his absence, he lied and said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. I was furious and called him out for being dishonest, insisting I knew he had been out with another woman. I reached out to my mother-in-law and my own mom for advice, trying to gain some perspective. My mother-in-law minimized it, saying it was a common mistake for men and that I needed to move on for the kids' sake. You know, they need their father at home. I've been doing a lot of soul-searching since that day. Part of me wants to fight for our marriage, to believe we can work through this rough patch. However, another part of me is devastated and feels that I deserve better. I think about filing for divorce, seeking child support, and pursuing full custody of the kids so I can provide them with a stable environment. So here I am, wondering if I'm being the a-hole for even considering divorce. Am I overreacting? Should I be more forgiving because of our history? Or am I justified in wanting to leave this relationship for the happiness and safety of myself and my children? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, OP, not even close, and you're not overreacting. You're reacting to a serious betrayal of trust, safety, and respect. Your husband left your children, including a newborn and a toddler, home alone, lied about it, possibly went on a date, and came back drunk as if nothing happened. That's not a mild mistake, that's neglect. Your 13-year-old was traumatized trying to care for 2 babies. Your toddler was unattended. Your newborn was crying and uncared for. And instead of owning his failure, he gaslit you, dismissed you, and left his mother run defense for him. You're not the a-hole for considering divorce. You'd be more justified in asking why you haven't already started the process. This isn't just a rough patch. This is dangerous, irresponsible, and deeply disrespectful. Staying for the kids doesn't mean tolerating neglect and deception. If anything, leaving might be the most stable and loving thing you can do for them. Trust your instincts, OP. I don't think you're overreacting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. RichAd4654 says, he didn't even have the audacity to lie well. Like, you were home, and his excuse is he fell asleep? Where, Fred? In her vagina? Cause it wasn't at home in your own bed. Love, you know what's up. I'm holding your hand as I say this. Your marriage is over, and you need to be smart about your next steps. Speak to a lawyer and get your ducks in a row, quietly. And when you're freaking out about whether you're ruining your kids' lives by believing him, remember your teenage daughter and ask, is this the marriage you would want her to have? You don't deserve this, and she doesn't deserve to watch her mother suffer in this marriage and grow up thinking that this is all there is. Infamous City 4196 says, not the a-hole, not even close. He didn't make a mistake, he made a series of selfish, reckless choices. Leaving a newborn and toddler with a 13-year-old so he could go out drinking, likely with another woman, is neglect, not a normal guy thing. Then he lies, gaslights you, comes home drunk, and acts like nothing happened? Nah, you're not overreacting. You're waking up. Divorce isn't cruel. It's protecting your kids from a man who clearly checked out. Let the enablers whine. You're doing what's right. And the Duchess 1025 says, not the a-hole. He's clearly cheating, and to me, that is obviously supported by his mother. The good news for him is he will have a place to stay when you put him out. He put your teen and babies at risk. He's put your health at risk. I'm also concerned about what did he say to your daughter as to why she didn't call you when she was overwhelmed when he left. You just had a baby and he couldn't be bothered to stay home for 7 hours to be a parent. Exactly what are you trying to salvage? Sending you the warmest internet hugs I can. I hope you find a solution that works for you and your children. Additional information from OP's comments. He's been insisting he never left the house, even though the camera footage says otherwise. He told our daughter he had important business, which turned out to be him taking her phone and saying he would get it replaced with a newer iPhone. She didn't know where he actually went, just that he said he was getting her a new phone. When she told him she was scared and didn't know how to calm the baby, he didn't have much to say. My teenage daughter does not know how to change a diaper and make a bottle, and it looks like she did her best. The baby was just extremely fuzzy. When I got home, I breastfed her, changed her, and got her to sleep. Sometimes a baby just needs her mom, maybe to hear my heartbeat or feel safe. That's something my daughter couldn't know or handle yet. Yes, I was frustrated about the newborn situation. I just didn't go into detail at first. Knowing how to do basic baby care doesn't mean a teen knows how to handle that kind of stress alone. I did what I had to do and the toddler was fine, just playing around. And no, I didn't just drop the issue or think his response was a solution. I followed up. Nobody had asked me anything initially, but I did confront him. I would never want my daughters to think this kind of situation is okay. If they were in my shoes, I'd tell them to leave before things got worse. Finally, for the record, I wasn't asking for his permission to go out. I was simply telling him where I'd be and making sure someone would be home with the kids. I thought they'd be safe. Clearly, they weren't. I had already called my husband after my appointment to let him know I'd be home later than planned because of traffic. I didn't want him to think I was out goofing off while he was with the kids. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole or overreacting and that she should follow through with divorce. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. A lot has gone down and I appreciate all the advice, but for those who think it was fake, that's just your opinion. My husband and I went back and forth for a couple more days after my last post. I finally got him to watch the video and it proved he was the one lying while saying I was. He kept watching it and coming up with excuse after excuse. I told him that if our marriage fell apart, it would be because of his behavior that night. I asked him a few things. 1. Why did he leave our daughter with 2 babies? 2. What was he doing? 3. Who was this so-called second wife? All he could say was that I was being too dramatic and that I was not trusting him too much. I shot back, "You broke my trust when you left the babies alone with our kid." I told him he had one chance to come clean, and if he didn't, we'd have to talk about divorce, child support and all that. Still, he stood firm, saying, "I didn't do anything." I was so frustrated. I asked him why he couldn't just be honest. His answer, "Why do you think I was cheating? That's not trusting me." I reminded him that he had admitted to being with his wife right in front of me. He said, "I was drunk." I replied that he shouldn't have gone out and gotten drunk without a way to get home safely while our kids were at home without an adult. He apologized, but that didn't change what he did. I told him his actions messed up our daughter's trust in him, hurt our marriage, and affected our parenting. He just kept pushing his own narrative about that night. 6 days ago, he told me I was overreacting and that we should keep it together for the kids. I reminded him that he lied to me, called me a liar, put our kids in danger, and wrecked our marriage. Then he snapped and got mad, claiming there was a reason for everything, but wouldn't tell me anything. 3 days ago, he came clean and admitted he's been seeing another woman, calling her his second wife. He told me that if I couldn't accept it, then it didn't matter to save a marriage that was already falling apart, with only me trying to hold it together. I shot back that says he was the one ruining our marriage and wrecking our lives with this nonsense, then fine, let it be. I told him he'd be the reason our kids wouldn't have a dad in the house because of his selfish, ignorant, and irresponsible behavior. He lied to our daughter about her phone, put our kids in a tough spot, lied to me, messed up our marriage, and then made me look like the one who's dishonest. I already have a lawyer, and right now we're currently waiting on some paperwork from them that we have to go over. I'm also planning on getting an STD test, and I have been looking into a way to get a copy of the ring records and the text messages between us two in a safe place where only me and my lawyer can access it. Thanks for all the support. Well, OP, you're doing the right thing. You're protecting your kids, standing up for yourself, and refusing to let someone else's lies define your worth or future. Stay strong. You've already taken the hardest, bravest step forward. So on that note, OP, here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Ballet Party Throw. My daughter's dance teacher invited her to a sleepover at her house. Would I be the a-hole for formally complaining? My daughter is 7. She's been taking ballet lessons since she was 4, but has only been enrolled in this particular dance school for about a year. There are only 6 other girls in her class, all around her age, and she has 2 lessons a week. Anyway, earlier this week, my daughter came home with an invitation from her teacher. She's inviting the girls, all 7 of them, to spend the night at her house on the last weekend of April. According to my daughter, the teacher told the girls that it's a slumber party. The pitch apparently included McDonald's, movies, and games. I've spoken to other moms and they've all confirmed that their daughters got the same invitation. None of us have been notified by the school, so I have to assume the teacher is planning this on her own. She has not spoken to any of us about this directly, only to our daughters. Some of the girls seem to be excited, but my daughter is still anxious about spending the night away from us, so she wouldn't be going even if I was okay with this, which I'm not. I have never spoken to this teacher about anything besides my child, nor do I know anything about her personal life or home. I've been thinking of complaining to the dance school about this because I've never heard of teachers doing this before and I'm a little freaked out. But at least 2 of the other moms don't seem to have a problem with it, and I can't help but wonder whether I'm overreacting. Is this normal? Honestly, I just need some advice here. OP, in my opinion, you're not overreacting, you're doing exactly what a responsible parent should do. A private, unsanctioned slumber party at a teacher's house for a group of 7-year-olds organized without any direct communication with parents or the school is not the standard. Even if her intentions are harmless, this crosses professional boundaries. If this were a school-approved class trip or a group activity like a camping event with multiple adult chaperones, formal permission slips, and clear communication, that would be completely different. But this, no background information, no emergency contacts, no structure, just a verbal invite passed through children? That's a red flag in my opinion. You're right to say no, and you're absolutely justified in raising this with the school. You don't need to accuse anyone, just express that this kind of situation is inappropriate and makes you uncomfortable, which it should. You're not being paranoid, you're protecting your child. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Rose Golden Dew says, teachers shouldn't be inviting students to sleepovers at their homes without formal school involvement or parental communication. This is what you should do. Talk to the school directly, voice your concern, and ask for clear policies around boundaries and off-hours contact. And Dopey responds, honestly, I think I'd still be bothered if she had communicated with us, but the fact she spoke directly to the girls before anything else does make things worse. Electronic Farm 4633 says, my daughter's dance teachers would invite students to a sleepover in the dance studio with other teachers. That's how they do it. Hot Sea Worthiness says, I'm curious how old this teacher is. Most people with life experience would be aware that this is inappropriate regardless of the intention. It would be that she genuinely wants to go above and beyond for her students and give them a treat. I think it should be reported not to get her in trouble, but as a learning experience. And Trissa Lee says, maybe it's because where I'm from, cows outnumber the people and everyone knows everyone, or at least used to. This happened when I was in 3rd grade, about 27 years ago. I had an amazing teacher who actually had the whole class over to her house to camp outside and stay the night. I'm pretty sure it had to do with the lesson plan, and she also went through the school as an actual field trip. There were a couple other teachers there as well as chaperones. I feel like if she would have went through the proper channels and such, and also eased parents' minds, it wouldn't bother me, but the way she did it, I'm uncomfortable about. Okay, well, the people agree with OP that this isn't the best way to have gone about it. So now, let's move on to the update to see what OP did and how this story ends. Thank you all for your input. A lot has happened, but I'll try to keep this short. I won't waste time and try to convince anyone to like me. If you've already decided, I'm a true crime obsessed neurotic helicopter parent Karen with diaper energy and social anxiety issues, I don't think there's much I can say that will change your mind. And yes, I have heard of log-ins. My son had one with a swim team last year. He's a bit older. It happened at the pool. Guardians were informed before the children were, and one of the other parents chaperoned. It's not the same thing as an unofficial sleepover at a teacher's house. All that said, I never intended to risk this woman's job. I was just worried. So I spoke to my husband, and we decided to take your advice and speak to my daughter's teacher first. He spoke to her while picking up our daughter last week. He said the conversation went fine, but he was bothered by her reaction when he said our daughter wouldn't attend. He told the teacher our kid was anxious, but she replied that the sleepover would be a great opportunity for her to come out of her shell, and that we should try to encourage our daughter to come. During the conversation, my husband also found out the following. 1. She came up with the sleepover idea because she wanted to bond with the girls and figured it would be fun. 2. She didn't ask for another parent to act as a chaperone because her husband had offered to help her. First time she ever mentioned his existence. 3. When asked about what she'd do in case of emergency, she just stated she lived about 10 minutes away from the hospital. And 4. She didn't ask for the parents' contact information because she didn't think of it. After he told me all this, I decided to email the dance school. I wrote that the teacher was planning a sleepover about which the parents had not received a lot of information. 2 days later, we all got an email from the teacher stating she was canceling the sleepover due to a complaint from the dance school. She also apologized for not being more transparent with us. Some of the other moms are planning another sleepover at one of their houses so that the girls won't be upset. Not sure where or when it will happen yet, but I'm trying to keep up to date. Ultimately, even though I still don't know what the sleepover would have been like, I don't regret this. When it comes to my children, I'd rather be paranoid and wrong than right and regretful. If I complained and it turned out to be a completely innocent event, I'd feel embarrassed, even after apologizing, but it might be something I could laugh about someday. If I let my daughter go and something happened to her or any of the other girls, I would never forgive myself. I won't update again. Thank you all. Willoughby, when it comes to children, your approach is the one I'd also take. I'd rather be paranoid and wrong than right and regretful. And I think you and your husband did the right thing. So on that note, here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.